Hello, dear friends. Here we are, 12 encounters with the Divine Friend. Really feeling the need of being with this Divine Friend. We've just had our meeting, the God at Home, which we recommend to each one of you that you dedicate this once a week meeting when you pray together, when you talk about spirituality, when you nourish your souls as a family, and you open your hearts to talk about the things that really, get to the core of your life. And we had this beautiful message that was opened by our friend Mark Smith, 44, from the book Living Spring, and talks about the fact that this Divine Friend is already ahead of us. And that's why we're like trying to catch up, saying, Jesus, wait up. And he's not going to wait. But we needed to go after him and go find him so we can, once and for all, be with him side by side. Right? Today, in these 12 encounters with the Divine Friend, this is day 7. This is the Holy Week people talk about in Christianity, and in parallel we're here cherishing the very moments. Why has Jesus come? What has he done? Why is he in our lives? What do we do? He's our guide and model, right? Yes, thank you, Carol, for helping us, double checking where we are, right? Did you know Kardec Radio now has listeners in more than 99 countries around the world? Yes, we are spreading out the news, but this is exactly the message about spreading the good news and the issues that come in between, right? Many people have been helping to make this a reality, and you're part of it too. You're a great part of it. We need to spread the news, not for me, not only for you, but for the sake of humanity. Everybody deserves an opportunity to meet the Divine Friend, not the one at the cross, the one that is working in the hearts of people, singing. You think Jesus didn't sing? Of course he did. He meditated, he sung, he was jovial, he was smiling. In the message we're gonna read today, we're gonna meet this smiling friend. Through him and his non-verbal lessons as well, we're being coached. He's our personal trainer, saying, let's warm up, friends, and we are warming ourselves up as we speak and say hi to our beautiful community who is here with us, and those who are watching us on demand. We think of you, we send you our love truthfully, and we hope that if you have any question or any comment, just write a line. KardecRadio.com has a website, right? It's a website. There's a contact form. You go there and send us your questions or comments, your requests. We're here for you to nourish your soul, sharing these teachings that are not ours. We're just bridging it up. And you can help us. There are so many things to do. By the way, the team is expanding because the work is expanding, and only God knows where it's gonna go. What we know is that we're nourishing the souls. And you can send us an email volunteering. You can send us an email requesting themes to be discussed in our programs, not only the programs that I host, but all the other wonderful hosts. If you have questions, we'll be happy to address. Hello, friends. Carol Correa and Mark Smith, the hosts of Kardec Kids and Kardec Radio for Teens with Bia Lopes, Valéria Benfica, Brasil, meu Brasil brasileiro, right, Valéria? Thank you for bringing these soothing energies. Leia Severo, our beautiful Florida here present, right, Leia? Adilson, hello, Adilson. Adilson and the beautiful community of New York. New York, New York, right? Solange. New Jersey, am I right? Yes, Solange? No, Connecticut. Right. I know. It's the tri-state area, right? Patricia, how are you in Tiago, New Jersey? Angelita, you know, the Yes group goes everywhere to support the other group. So Angelita is in the Yes group, but she visits the others, helps as well. So it's fantastic. Andrea, my beautiful friend in Illinois, the Plains, right? Am I right? Yes, 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 yes. Flávio Zanetti, are you kidding me, my friend? You're here? Welcome, welcome, dear soul. Now you're here, let us grow. I'm not crazy because I'm singing. We're just happy for seeing you here. Thank you, Flávio, for joining us. The message today, as always, Humberto de Campos is striking in his message. It's the true consolation. But, you know, the truth comes with love. So be prepared. Buckle up while I'm saying hi to the community, because the one today is gonna be turbulent, right? Solange from Connecticut. Cacilda, how are you? Orlando. Beautiful Cacilda. Are you registered for the symposium? I want to see you there, my friend. And I want you, as a wonderful person, to spread the news, bring the people to the symposium, Cacilda. We want to see you there. Rudy, Sunnyside, New York. Thank you for joining us. Friends, are you ready? We are ready. This is chapter 34 from the book Cartas e Crônicas. This book was psychographed by the wonderful medium Chico Xavier. And you know, some people ask me, why, Vanessa, you call him Chico Xavier if in English we could call him Chico Xavier? Because majority of Americans whom I know go to Brazil, hear Brazilians saying Chico Xavier, and they like the sound of it. They say, Vanessa, keep Chico Xavier, we like it. And in their name, in their tribute, we keep it as is. They like the way we Brazilians say Chico Xavier. They want to say the same. Chico Xavier is Brazilian, and we pronounce in the Brazilian way. But feel free to pronounce in any way you like, okay? Chico Xavier psychographed this book, and the spirit author is Humberto de Campos, or Brother X. In every chapter, Humberto de Campos reveals to us aspects of Jesus' life that we didn't know before, but mostly unprecedented non-verbal lessons, verbal lessons we haven't come to know, but now we do. Remember when Jesus said, right now I cannot tell you everything, but one day I'll send you the promised consoler that will tell you everything I cannot say right now, and it will stay with you until the end of times. Hello, Rose. Rosie from Massachusetts. Now, the title is The Grim Reaper, believe it or not. And it's not Halloween. It's just another beautiful encounter with Jesus. Where did Humberto de Campos bring it? To prove to us that he was attending schools of the gospel, as he mentions in the preface of the book Good News. Humberto de Campos tells us that he was there talking to other friends and came to know of a passage of Jesus. This is how he begins narrating. commenting on certain difficulties regarding the genuine Spiritist propaganda, the old Jonathan, a long-standing follower of the gospel in our field of spiritual action, he took the word and spoke smilingly in their field of action, in the discarnate realm, in their school of the gospel. He comes and brings a story. In the Master's time, such obstacles were not smaller. The glorious mission of the Lord was in its course when several legions of supposed disciples of the good news arose at the edge of the evangelical activities, at the command of chiefs who claimed to be followers of John the Baptist. Disordered crowds swarmed on the banks of the Jordan, dispersing in Palestine and in Syria. After hearing the lessons of the Lord, captains of the popular revolt against the Roman dominion used Jesus' doctrine, creating systematized discord in the name of human solidarity in the diverse villages that surrounded the Tiberias. They all uprised fiery-word, claiming to speak in the name of the divine renewer. Men thought that Jesus, the Messiah of Nazareth, was invested with the authority indispensable to the formation of the new kingdom. He would destroy the foreign potentates and annihilate dictators of power. Precious speeches were heard in the cenacle of the people and in the rustic pictures of nature, exalting the goodwill and the communion of the souls, the devotion and the tolerance among all. Exhilarated, thousands of listeners listened to the preaching, ecstatic and happy, as if they already breathed in a new world. Pause for a second. Humberto de Campos is describing to us that while Jesus was still living, incarnated, other people who claimed to be followers started organizing themselves and, creating their own discourse and their conclusions and spreading the news. Today we call it fake news, but they always existed. It's not something of the current times. They always existed because it's produced by human nature. People barely investigate the truth to talk about the truth. They conclude that that's the truth and they spread it out, and they incur in great mistakes. And this happened at Jesus' time. Can you believe it? The governor of the planet is incarnated as a simple Galilean man who is loving, kind, caring for everyone, doing wonderful things like nobody has ever done. And yet, people were taking advantage of this pathway for their egotistic reasons. Listen to this, because Humberto de Campos reveals details. However, in the whirlwind of vibrant and noble concepts that Jesus spread out, there were those who raised money for the help of widows and orphans and deliberately forgot it to enrich their own pockets. There were also opportunists who, in charge of the indoctrination concerning fraternity, used exquisite and well-made sentences for the accomplishment of the lowest political maneuvers. It was for that reason that at a certain twilight, when the crowd gathered around the Master by the waters, visualize it, to receive from him the comforting word and the salutary teaching, Simon Peter, a man fond of rough honesty, making use of the great pause which the eternal benefactor has given to his own narrative, he questioned Jesus directly. Feel it. People gathering together. Why? Because they needed to be comforted. They needed a healthy teaching. But who goes after Jesus? Those who are suffering. Today I met a beautiful mother. I was taking Virginia to a practice, and I met this beautiful mother of twins, 5-year-olds, who were adorable. They are adorable, very polite, very jovial, but they, since born, they have this diabetic condition, type 1, very hard. They use the pump on their arms, which is a blessing. Because before that, she told me, they used to receive 6 shots a day just to make the day, to survive. Science progressed, and in a few years, now they can, live a better life. And she told me, without knowing about what we do, she said, I've come to the realization, my husband and I, after all we've been through, that for us it doesn't matter if our daughters learn to read now or later. What matters to us is that they are nice to people and that they are helpful in the world. I almost cried in tears because I heard an American woman who was genuinely polite. I've seen her a couple times, and this is the first time we actually talk to one another. And I was deeply touched by her sincere comments, which, by the way, I don't hear very often. Even when I meet people who know of Spiritism, rarely hear parents saying that their first concern is that their children are nice to other people or that they are helpful to the world. Many people are still competing, who reads first, who writes first, who walks first, who runs first, who gets the number 1, etc., etc. But those who are suffering, and then she disclosed to me, I was talking about God and saying that life is just much more than what the eyes can see, and then she opened up saying that she's Christian. So she also found herself comforted by the encounters with Jesus. And those at Jesus' time were feeling the same. They needed it. But Peter, he needed to ask a question. And Jesus gave the opportunity. Master, what shall we do with those who exploit the idea of the kingdom of God? In many places, we find those who form service groups in the name of the nascent good news, mobbing hearts for their own benefit. They stir up the popular mind and make promises they cannot keep. In Bethesda, we have the group of Berkia Ben Zenon, who directs it with dominant enthusiasm, appropriating the sublime message of yours to solicit money from the poor fishermen. His group claims to help the sick and the widows. though helping a very small number of unfortunate. He keeps to himself most of the offerings bestowed upon him. Can you believe it? Well, it is possible. Even today, in Capernaum, I have heard the brilliant preaching of Aminadab ben Nazor, who takes advantage of your divine lessons to induce the people to indiscipline and disturbance. Nevertheless, uttering affirmations and prayers that comfort the spirit of those who suffer in the arduous paths of the earth. How should we handle it, Lord? Is it fair that we subordinate ourselves to the cunning of the ambitious and the malice of the rogues? How will we relegate the gospel to the domination of those who surrender to vanity and greed of possession, to egocentricity and madness? What does Jesus say? We want to hear. Jesus meditated for a few instants and replied. Before we hear the reply, observe Jesus meditated for a few instants. Let us take the nonverbal lesson. Remember previous passages? Jesus time and again is teaching us that when people ask us something, depending on their emotional status, let us do what? Let us give them time. Shall we? Let us give them time before we actually disclose anything. Because if we respond right away, people may not even hear us or what we're saying, because they are surrendered to their own feelings. Is that a good lesson for us? Observe yourself. This is a therapeutic conversation, empowering ourselves. How often, when people ask you a question, whether challenging or not, heated question or not, how do you proceed? Do you play the game that many people play nowadays, like even before the person says, you go with boom? I do that sometimes. And that's a conditioning. I have to change. Do you do that? Or, like Jesus, wait. Process. Jesus knew the answer. He was giving Peter time to absorb it. He needed to finish his train of thought in his mind. Sometimes people ask questions, they finish the question, but they're still like in the turmoil of the questioning. Wait. How do you do it? Breathe in and out. Look at people with kindness. Breathe in and out. Smile. And then answer. Unless you're driving or somebody's driving and they ask you a question, do I turn right or left? Don't meditate. Just say right away, right or left. Right? There are cases in which you have no time to meditate. You have to be quick. But this is not the case. When we're meditating about life, we really need to give people time. Right, Joyce? Welcome, welcome. Rita de Cássia, welcome. Cissa, welcome. Margaret, welcome. Okay. What did Jesus say, Vanessa? Humberto de Campos says that Jesus replied. Right, Margarita Valderrama? Right, here we are. Publio, how are you in beautiful Canada? Together with our beautiful Joyce too. Jesus meditated for a few instants and replied, Simon, first of all, it is necessary to consider that the confessed criminal finds the established correction in the law itself. The one who steals is going to be stolen. The one who deceives others will end up deceiving themselves. Whomever hurts, they will also be hurt. But Lord, said the apostle, in the process under examination, I think it's necessary to consider that the evils arising from false propaganda are incommensurable. Isn't there any resource to stop them immediately? How many people? And forgive me, friends, if I am sharing some specifics about the Spiritist movement. But we're saying this because people send us questions to Kardec Radio, the Spiritist magazine, to ourselves, personally, etc. So this is an opportunity, right, Eduardo, to clarify with Jesus. There are people who are writing books. They have half-truths. There are people who are giving talks and not necessarily. They go aligned with what we think or people think that is appropriate. What should I do? Create an inquisition? Put a new create a new method to go against these people? Prohibit them? Prohibit the books? Listen to what Jesus is going to say and we'll know the answer. The Sublime Friend, since we're meeting with him, the Sublime Friend patiently considered. If there are judges in the world who were born for the hard task of rectifying, we are here for the work of help. We cannot forget that attentive to their mission of love, the true disciples of the good news do not have time and disposition to share the activities of the less responsible brothers. Moreover, based on your own words, Peter, we are talking about companions who did not totally forget about charity. You said that at least Berkian Ben Zella protects some unhappy people who surround him on the road, and that in the foolish words he utters, Aminadab Ben Azor feels teachings and prayers of worth to those in need of light. And if we are to weigh the hopes and possibilities, the yearnings and the virtues of the thousands of temporary friends accompanying them, how can we justify any condemnatory sentence on our part? So the ultimate test for us, therapeutically speaking, is, are you the judge or are you Jesus' helper? Jesus said that he is not the judge either. So who am I to be the judge? How about you? Where are you? The judge or the helper? He said that the true followers do not have time to go after these people and say, hey, stop it. But even to prohibit. So if you hear of people who on the behind the scenes start talking bad about speakers, other people, people who write books, psychograph books, watch out. The people who are using the robe of Puritans, they are actually not true followers. because the true followers doesn't have time to even go there, to know about it, because they are busy helping people. And in my little dimension, working as a psychologist, as a teacher, in the Spiritist Center, at Kardec Radio, and I say voluntarily working as well, we've come to know that suffering is spread out in this planet. There is no time to waste minding people's business. If people ask me, Vanessa, have you read this new psychographed book? I said, you know, I had no time. Have you heard about this medium? No. Why? There's no time. No time. No time. We barely have time to translate the stellar books of Chico Xavier, which is our daily bread in the English-speaking movement. Without them, we couldn't be here tonight. Right? Hello, Luciana Antoni. Hello, Enilda. Rosalind Rosa, how are you? Right? So, Jesus is saying, if we are to weight the hopes and possibilities, the yearnings and the virtues of the thousands of temporary friends accompanying them, how can we justify any condemnatory sentence on our part? We cannot condemn anyone. Are they doing the good? Are they helping people? Bottom line, and this is our governor telling us, he's dictating the pace. The promised consoler is coming here to us to tell us, no, you're not the judge. You are invited to be Jesus' helper. Thank you, Enilda. The judicious remark was in the air. Since no one answered to Jesus, Jesus gazed at the distant horizon as if appealing to the future, and dictated the parable of the tares and the wheat, which appears in the 13th chapter of Matthew's Notes, 24 to 30 verses. You know, for those who are coming here, they don't know, parable of the tares and the wheat, do joio e do trigo in Portuguese, okay? And I'm going to read it right off Matthew 13th, verses 24 to 30th. Jesus told the parable contextualized as a way for us to understand what to do at those times. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field, but while the man slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Lord, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? The man said to them, An enemy has done this. The servant said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No. Lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of harvest, I'll say to the reapers, First gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Before we end, it's not over yet. Peter still has a question, believe it or not. Thank you, Peter. Because if you have a question, he did too. And this is it. Look at this. Today on the earth, we're living this defining moment when you're seeing the good that humanity has created here and the tear, the bad here. But now it's easy to see the difference. Is it why people are shocked with the news in a daily basis? You've seen the United flight, right? The outrageous attitude of the crew and the police of the airport, etc., with the Chinese doctor. No matter how legal or illegal, it's astounding what happened. And why we're saying this? It's exactly what Jesus is saying. God allowed both to grow at its maximum strength. In the name of the legality of it all, a CEO comes and says, oh, we did the best we could, because it's legal. It grows. Evil grows mounted on a horse of legality. But then the good comes with the other people who say, well, in spite of it all, you can't be aggressive to somebody to meet your needs. Now we can see clearly. Now we can see clearly now. The rain is gone. The rain is gone. Now we're no longer ignorant. Now we know good is good, bad is bad. There's no in between. You see how clear it is now? When you talk about a war, do you want war? No. Some people do. Hopefully not the majority of the people on the earth. But if you rewind the tape of humanity, decades ago, many people were pro-war. They had no idea what they were asking for. But now we know. So there is no justification for war whatsoever. And we're saying this so the winds of the spiritual webcast, they can spread this news to the spiritual realms, to the denser levels closer to us. So they also think twice about how they are partaking in the decisions of our near future. We're all gonna suffer if we give that step. But this is the very time in which God allows the wheat and the tare to be visible so we can separate them easily, no doubt about it, right? Hello, Jussara. Hello, Danny and Erica. Welcome, welcome. You think it's over? No. 4 more sentences. And Humberto de Campos showers upon us seeds of wisdom. Seeds of wisdom. The sower of God, our divine friend, open the soil of your heart because these seeds are immortal. The Christ was silent after telling the parable of the tare and the wheats. He was thoughtful, silent, thoughtful. Think about it. This is our personal trainer teaching us in our dialogue with others. Silence, thoughtfulness, thinking, meditation, reflections. However, dissatisfied, Simon asked Jesus again. Mamma mia, Peter. But, Lord, in our case, who will harvest the truth, separating it from the lie? Who, in our case, will separate the truth from the lie? People who feel like, I need to be the judge. I need to tell people, Don't listen to this person. Don't read this book. Don't talk to this person. Don't talk. You're not the judge. Jesus didn't even consider himself the judge. He considered himself helper of God. The master smiled again. Smiled. And replied. Forgive me because I said 4 sentences, a little more. Peter, time, and the Grim Reaper. They are the ones who are going to help us separate the wheat from the tare, the truth from the false. Time and death. Let us wait for him, for them, fulfilling the duty that corresponds to us. Life and justice belong to the Father, and the Father will decide on the subjects of life and justice. And because no one opposed Jesus on the lesson, the Master was silent to demand other teachings. The old Jonathan went silent. And in our turn, says Humberto de Campos, with enough material for study, we went separate ways to conclude and meditate on our own. Silence? Shall we do that exercise now? Let us practice in the next 4 hours being less of a judge, more of a helper, observing the people who are in need, helping. There will be no time to even see the other side of life. Because at the end of the day, God is taking care of everything. You don't need to be the judge. You're feeling lighter? Me too. Thank you, divine friend. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, friends. Let us meditate now in our silence and go our ways, meditating and concluding. And if you want, you can sing. And meet us in Orlando so we can sing together. See you then tomorrow, God willing.